And to complete the most significant news for this day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. The minimum fare in jeepneys will be back to 9 pesos for every first 4-kilometer travel beginning tomorrow. The order of the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, which comes after 8 consecutive weeks of oil price decrease, covers jeepneys plying in Metro Manila, Central Luzon, and Calabarzon region. Jeepney drivers and operators do not need to get a new copy of fare matrix before they could charge the 9 peso fare. The agency, however, clarifies that the new minimum fare is only provisional as they still have to deliberate on the original petition filed by a commuters group seeking to bring down the basic fare to 8 pesos.
There is a provisional decrease of the fare because of the continuing decreases of the price of oil.
Former lawmaker Satur Ocampo and 17 others will face more charges after posting bail for alleged child abuse. Ocampo and his colleagues were released from prison last Saturday after posting bail amounting to 80,000 pesos each. Ocampo and 17 others, including sitting ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz Castro, were arrested in a checkpoint on November 29 for allegedly kidnapping 13 minors from the Salugpungan School in Talangigod, Davao del Norte. According to the Philippine National Police, they are all set to file kidnapping and human trafficking cases against the group of Ocampo. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde says the charges raised by some of the parents of involved minors were first filed in Davao del Norte but was not accepted by the fiscal for incomplete documents.
We can never fabricate charges. Hindi kami makapag-charge kung walang complainant. That's why unang-una hindi nga tinanggap yung kidnapping na final ng Region 11, di ba? Hindi nga pinal, pero the violation of RA 7610 ay tinanggap ng piskalya.
Ocampo's group has denied the accusations and insisted they were rescuing the Lumad children from military harassment. In other news, the Armed Forces of the Philippines wants to extend the martial law in Mindanao, citing terrorism threats still lurking in the region. AFP Chief of Staff Carlito Galvez Jr. says the basis for the recommendation include the reported blasts in Basilan, Sultan Kudarat, and General Santos City in the previous months that killed 12 people and injured 8 others. The Philippine National Police and a Lumad group in Mindanao have expressed support for the military's proposal.
So, pabor sa amin yan. It's because of the upcoming plebiscite and the upcoming elections. In Mindanao,
Nga dili undang ang marsyalo kayo. Indang ang marsyalo, mahurot ang mga lumad. O, anak ba? Kay sige man po kuan dito, dili nato ipaundang ang marsyalo, aron matabangan tan presidente. Kay ukita lang magpahawa na, dili na pwede.
Mindanao has been placed under martial law since May 2017 after the mounted terror group attacked Marawi City. It is set to expire on December 31st, 2018 after the government sought for its extension to give way to the ongoing rehabilitation of Marawi. Malacañang, meanwhile, believes President Rodrigo Duterte is likely to heed the recommendation.
Of course, the President will always evaluate whatever recommendations the AAP and the PNP will give him. But given the support of martial law in Mindanao, even by a Catholic bishop, and the citizens there, the President may be persuaded to grant, to approve the recommendation. But of course, again, this is the prerogative of the President.
The National Bureau of Investigation files charges against 30 people, including 3 Chinese nationals, who were arrested for conducting illegal quarrying and mining operations in Porac, Pampanga. The NBI says the arrested Chinese nationals entered the country as tourists. They are facing violation of Section 103 of Republic Act 7942 or the Philippine Mining Act of 1995 and Section 10 of Indigenous Peoples' Rights of 1997. The NBI also seized heavy equipment, machineries, and minerals worth 1 billion pesos in 2 plants and quarry sites they raided after an Ita tribe complained that the operations were destroying their ancestral domain.
Initially, it appears that they came here as tourists. Yeah, based on the initial documents that we were able to seize. And then they stayed on and were working, operating the heavy equipments, particularly yung tinatawag nating vibro equipments. Ito yung sa mineral processing mismo at saka yung mga payloader. It would appear na meron silang permit. But what they are using are those issued by the provincial government. Hindi po pwede at hindi sasapat ang ganitong mga permits kasi ang areas of operation nila ay more than 5 hectares. Aside from that, they are into mineral processing operations.
Malacañang denies allegations that President Rodrigo Duterte may have a hand in charges being faced by Rappler news site President Maria Ressa. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says the executive department does not interfere with the mandate of the judiciary. Filipino journalist Maria Ressa and her news site are facing tax evasion charges for allegedly failing to declare and pay taxes out of the income it gained in 2015. A warrant of arrest was issued for Ressa, but she evaded it by posting a bail amounting to 60,000 pesos at the Pasig City Regional Trial Court. Ressa admitted the charges made her feel vulnerable but vowed to fight the cases against her and Rappler. Rappler has ran reports critical of the government and President Duterte's decisions and policies. But Malacañang says the charges against Ressa is a question of violation of law and not a case of political persecution.
Ms. Ressa has or is entitled to legal remedies under the law. And she has her lawyers, so I don't think she has a problem with respect to losing her liberty because she is precisely going to post bail. We have repeatedly said that we never and will never interfere with the function of the judiciary as well as the other branch. If the judiciary finds probable cause for an information filed, then we have to respect the law on the matter.
The Department of the Interior and local government is eyeing to craft a reintegration policy for former drug dependents who underwent rehabilitation and reformation process. The DILG notes more than 1 million drug personalities have voluntarily surrendered to authorities. About 20% of the total number are considered extremely indulged in illegal drug use, while around 300,000 are undergoing rehabilitation. But the government has yet to have a clear policy that will enable former drug users to have a decent job and lead normal lives. So as a result, they tend to go back to using illegal drugs. The DILG hopes to finish drafting the policy in January 2019.
We will use this opportunity to say na wala tayong malinaw na reintegration program pa. Ang reintegration program manggagaling dapat sa DSWD, DOLE, TESDA.
That's sad dahil we've been talking about this for how many years now.
Nandito pa lang ho kami sa community-based drug rehab. Kaya nga ngayon, magkakaroon kami ng focus group discussion with the 4 agencies together with DDB kung po pwedeng gumawa na ng policy.
And for the news abroad, here's Pauline Ompico live from Tokyo, Japan. Pauline, good evening.
Good evening, William. Asian markets rose after the presidents of China and the U.S. reached a temporary truce in their trade war. At the G20 summit, Donald Trump and Xi Jinping agreed to halt new trade tariffs for 90 days to allow for talks. An escalating trade war between the world's 2 largest economies has weighed on markets generally. The U.S. and China have imposed billions of dollars of tariffs on one another's goods, posing risks to global trade and the world economy. In China, Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index and Shanghai Composite were up more than 2% in early trading, while Japan's Nikkei 225 rose more than 1%. A 2-week forum aiming to discuss the effects of global warming has begun in Katowice, Poland. However, expectations are low that negotiations here will be sufficient in addressing climate concerns. Cynthia Brule tells us why.
Delegates from nearly 200 nations on Sunday began 2 weeks of talks to tackle deep political divisions at the most important United Nations meeting on global warming since the landmark 2015 Paris deal to shift away from fossil fuels. Fijian Prime Minister Frank Bainimarama declared the UN conference open on Sunday and handed over the presidency of the talks to Poland's Deputy Environment Minister Michał Kortyka.
Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to declare open the 24th session of the Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change.
Expectations are low that negotiations in Katowice, at the heart of Poland's coal region, will be sufficient to address concerns laid out in reports over recent weeks on the severity of rising greenhouse gas emissions. Around 40 environmental activists from the Polish NGO Akcja Demokracja gathered in a park in Katowice, calling on leaders to take action against climate change before it's too late.
I believe that today it's not too late, but soon it might be too late. So it's very, important how the next, couple of months, next 1 year, 2, 3 years, 5 years, what they will done during this time. It's not too late. We need to act. There is still some time, not much, but there is still some time.
Poland is hosting UN climate negotiations for a third time, but the nation remains hooked on coal, the most carbon-intensive fossil fuel. Coal provides about 80% of Poland's power and has been a major source of employment and national pride. Cynthia Brule, UNTV News and Rescue, Europe.
French President Emmanuel Macron is seeking to hold a dialogue with political and protest leaders after more than 400 people were arrested in demonstrations in Paris. Meanwhile, the Israeli police recommend bribery and fraud charges to be brought against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife in a third corruption case against the Israeli leader. Jovic Bermas tells us why.
In Paris, the flame under the Arc de Triomphe monument was rekindled on Sunday evening, as it is every night, a moment of calm after rioters turned central Paris into a battle zone the night before. Riot police on Saturday were overwhelmed as protesters ran amok in Paris' wealthiest neighborhoods, torching dozens of cars, looting boutiques, and smashing up luxury private homes and cafes in the worst disturbances the capital has seen since 1968. The unrest began as a backlash against fuel tax hikes. Macron ordered his prime minister on Sunday to hold talks with political leaders and demonstrators as he sought a way out of the nationwide protests. In Israel, Israeli police on Sunday said they had found enough evidence for bribery and fraud charges to be brought against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife in a third corruption case against the Israeli leader who denied the allegations. Authorities allege Netanyahu awarded regulatory favors to Israel's leading telecommunications company Bezeq Telecom Israel in return for more positive coverage of him and his wife on a news website Walla, owned by the company. Netanyahu has long denied wrongdoing. In a speech to his leaked party in Ramat Gan, he attacked the police and its outgoing chief and accused them of leaking what he described as a tainted process against him and his wife. And in Mexico, the big luxurious airplane used to ferry Mexico's former president around the globe is about to fly away permanently in one of the first moves by the new president to rid the country of what he has derided as a towering symbol of excess. The $218 million presidential jet, acquired in late 2012, is one of 60 government planes that will be sold, in addition to 70 helicopters. The aircraft was flown to the Victorville Airport in Southern California at Boeing's recommendation as it awaits a new owner, according to a statement by the Finance Ministry. Jovic Bermas, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much, Pauline Ompico, live from Tokyo, Japan. A young lady from Davao City is slowly making name in the international swimming scene. Robert Navoa tells us why.
15-year-old Aliyah Isabel Pacheco is among the Philippines' pioneer athletes in artistic and synchronized swimming since the Philippine team started joining international competitions in 2015. Aliyah says she gets her inspiration from her family, who has been supportive of her dream.
Well, first of all, my motivation is my family because they've sacrificed so many things just for this to happen. My aim for the next few years is, of course, to become better at this sport and to compete in more higher-ranking competitions.
Aliyah's first international achievement was when she won the country a silver medal at the Panasonic Asia Synchronized Swimming Championships Cum-12 Hong Kong Swimming Open competition in 2017. Then she joined as the youngest swimmer in the Philippines' 4-member synchronized swimming team in the 2017 Southeast Asian Games held in Malaysia, where she also competed in the solo free routine category. Aliyah says she admires the technique and style of famous Spanish swimmer Ana Carbonell. Her coach, Marina Colon, sees huge potential in Isabel based on her presentation and general comments of competition judges on her performance.
She's very beautiful, she's got the flexibility, she's got the qualities that the good synchronized swimmer has. To be honest, I wish she would be Australian. So I would absolutely love to have her in our club, and I believe that I could make out of a very strong athlete who could have a potential good chances of trialing for the Olympic Games.
Like any other budding athletes, Aliyah's ultimate dream is to compete in the Olympics. Apart from that, she also wants to become a good synchronized swimming coach someday. Aliyah is in Singapore for the 13th Singapore Open Artistic Swimming Championships 2018. Robert Navoa, UNTV, News and Rescue, Singapore.
Meanwhile, missionaries from Argentina and Brazil launch a futsal training program that targets to help Filipino street children. Asher Kadapan Jr. tells us why.
From aimlessly wandering and dawdling on streets, these street children from Caloocan and Antipolo have found a new purpose in taking their lives in a positive direction. This is through a futsal program crafted and launched by 2 missionaries from Argentina and Brazil who are now based in the Philippines. The sports program aims to reach out and train street kids to become adept in kicking and shuffling and scoring a goal. And for the first time, the kids were able to put their futsal trainings and endurance to a test during the Argentina and Brazil Cup held last Saturday. Street kids from Caloocan and Antipolo were divided into teams to face off with other young players visiting from Argentina and Brazil. The tourney was divided into 3 categories based on age bracket. Miko Picardal's team was hailed as the tourney's champion. Miko says he will forever cherish the experience and the friends he made because of the program.
Masaya po dahil nanalo kami. Saka teamwork po yung ginagawa namin. Dapat hindi mawala ng gana at wag ibuhos lahat ng makakaya.
The A&B Cup aims to help street children avoid bad vices through sports and to give them a chance to train and pursue a career in futsal someday. Argentinian and Brazilian envoys both hope this program will be instrumental in uplifting the lives and developing the skills and sportsmanship of poor Filipino children.
This event is going to be very, very, very nice, not only because the promoting of the football or soccer, but also for the social inclusion of the street children here in Manila. Yes, of course, we are going to continue this. I hope every year.
But it's not only related to sports. It highlights the importance of some very essential principles and values, such as teamship, friendship, cooperation, and fair play.
The event's organizers plans to expand the advocacy to other poor areas in the country. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue.
Overseas Filipino workers in Dubai had a night to remember with the Wishfuls last Friday. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
After a month of preparation, the Wishfuls finally staged the first of their concert series in Dubai at Boracay Asian Hotel last Friday. The fast-rising group gave their all in every performance. They also performed hits from their gold and platinum album, Wishful Journey. The Wishful Nation from Dubai was so delighted by the music-filled night.
Magaling po, magaling silang lahat.
Lahat sila maganda, tsaka magaling silang lahat kumanta. Yung professionals.
Grabe, sobrang sulit yung concert nila. Actually, second time ko na siyang napanood dito sa Dubai. Sobrang sulit. Hindi nyo pagsisisihan na pupunta kayo dito.
Meanwhile, the Wishfuls thanked their fans in Dubai for the support they received.
Para lang kaming nasa Pilipinas. Grabe po, mas matindi pa nga yung yung pagtanggap sa amin. Nakaka-overwhelm talaga. Super warm yung support.
November 3, 2018. On behalf of Rheena,
UNTV, your public service channel.